Good morning, good morning. Welcome to 4x8 Paper Stuff. This is Beth. Welcome to My Time to Journal, an untrained person playing with lots of art supplies and having fun. Join me. I am reading the Wikipedia description of the gold bug by Edgar Allan Poe in 1843. It was written on Sullivan's Island, which is by Charleston in South Carolina, and it's a no better example of a poem that I can think of. It says, The Gold Bug is a short story by American writer, I'll try not to mumble or talk too fast, is a short story by American writer Edgar Allan Poe, published in 1843. The plot follows William Legrand, who was bitten by a gold-colored bug. His servant Jupiter fears that Legrand is going insane and goes to Legrand's friend, an unnamed narrator, who agrees to visit his old friend. Legrand pulls the other two into an adventure after deciphering a secret message that will lead to a buried treasure. The story, set on Sullivan's Island, South Carolina, is often compared with Poe's Tales of Ratiocination, I don't know what that means, as an early form of detective fiction. Poe became aware of the public's interest in secret writing in 1840 and asked readers to challenge his skills as a codebreaker. He took advantage of the popularity of cryptography as he was writing The Gold Bug, and the success of the story centers on such cryptogram. Modern critics have judged the characterization of Legrand's servant Jupiter as racist, especially because of his comical dialect speech. Anyhow, blah, 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 blah. William Legrand has relocated from New Orleans to Sullivan's Island in South Carolina after losing his family fortune and brought his African-American servant Jupiter with him. The story's narrator, a friend of Legrand, visits him one evening to see an unusual scarab-like bug he has found. The bug's weight and lustrous appearance convince Jupiter that it is made of pure gold. I never knew any of this. This is so cool. Legrand has lent it to an officer stationed at a nearby fort, Fort Sullivan, Revolutionary War site, true life. But he draws a sketch of it for the narrator with markings on the carapace that resemble a skull. As they discuss the bug, Legrand becomes particularly focused on the sketch and carefully locks it in his desk for safekeeping. Confused, the narrator takes his leave for the night. Blah, 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 blah. I had no idea that's what that was all about. I have the book in several different forms. Speaking of books, if you like books, there is something that I watched on, I think it was Amazon Prime, about independent bookstores and book collecting and collecting rare books. It was really interesting. I think it was on Amazon. I think it's called, let me see what it was on, what it was called. Of course, now I'm never going to find it again. But it was really cool. I'll never find it again. Anyhow, it was really interesting. So interesting that I can't remember what it was called. A lot of times what you watched shows up. I've also been watching some really neat things called Britain's Hidden Villages. That was cool too. Not sponsored by Amazon Prime. Wouldn't that be wonderful? I don't know where I found it, but it was really interesting. Anyhow, okay. We'll see how much is left of the video. Bye. The movie that I was talking about is called The Booksellers, Amazon Prime. Very interesting. In and around all my mumblings about movies and poems and Edgar Allan Poe, the prompt for today is poem. And this will be my last event, whatever you want to call it, last spread in this challenge. I am a person that is only monitored by months. I don't know why. I just am. And we're at the end of June, and which is hard to believe. But I'm decided to do something else for July, and I'm finished, and I think ending here on the word poem with my favorite person that writes poems, just about for many, many, many different reasons. And a lot of you know them. I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan. My last name is Allen. My husband's middle name is Edgar. It just was meant to be for me. Um, so I'm ending the ICAD 2022 challenge here with poem and Edgar Allan Poe. And I got out a bunch of old books, new books that have a lot of ephemera in them, stamps, that book that had the gold bug poem in it, which I bought at a antique store in Georgia earlier in the year, and with my sister, and just kind of collaging some bugs and birds and poison on top of the gold bug. And then as I was finishing up, I decided to kind of very ghostly like put the state of South Carolina in there. This took a lot of imagination on my part because I'm not good at this kind of stuff. But because it was written in South Carolina, Edgar Allan Poe lived in Charleston. There's a bar down there called the Poe Tavern. It's very famous. I think it's still down there. There's so much stuff that has changed due to a bazillion amounts of tourists that go to Charleston anymore. But anyhow, so I'm just trying to put a ghostly figure of South Carolina, the edge of the state, and it's shaking my table, and I'm so sorry. That's shaking the camera thus. And then I went around it, the edge with a teeny tiny bit of gold paint to try to make it stand out a little bit better, the border. I'm not sure if that even worked, but by the end I think I finally get enough layers on there between pencils and watercolor and metallics and everything else, and my gold bug is in there, and I love this. So thank you, ICAD challenge. I am through with you. Everybody else can still go on through the month of July. I'm going to start a new project. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.